President Joe Biden, thank goodness, in step with the American people, apologized for describing the suspected killer of Lincoln, a.k.a. Laken, Hope Riley. He described him as an illegal immigrant during the State of the Union.
I believe he just said illegal.
Oh, he did. He just said illegal.
Didn't even say immigrant.
And people aren't illegal.
Human beings cannot be illegal. All humans are legal.
Oh, my goodness.
I wonder if that applies to babies born in states that have banned abortion. Is that process legal?
Babies born
in states that have banned abortion. A Texas baby that the mom really wanted to kill, just couldn't get around to it because of the law. Are those babies legal? Because they keep telling us everything about it is unconstitutional. Are those babies legal?
Well, I tell you, I think, for instance, Charlie Manson, the guy with the swastika on his forehead.
I remember him.
Yeah, okay. He's not illegal.
No human is illegal.
Yeah. But what he did was illegal.
Wait, is that how the law works? That human beings can have actions that are illegal?
Yes.
They're not illegal themselves.
So you're not illegal. If you do something, let's say, thinking out of the box here, come into a country, and you're not supposed to be here, okay? And so you cross our border.
You're legal.
Illegally.
Oh.
No. You are still a legal human being, but you've now come to cross purposes with the law.
Right. So your actions are the thing that's informed
your
whether
actions are illegal, and shorthand we would just call you illegal instead of having to explain it every time to dummies.
Although you did just have to explain it to a bunch of dummies.
Yes. Yeah. Mainly in the White House.
Yes.
And in Congress. Or have a D after their name. The D, by the way, doesn't stand for Democrat. It stands for dummy. So this guy killed Laken Hope. She was a nursing student. He brutally killed her, kidnapped her during the State of the Union address. He was confronted by Marjorie Taylor Greene, who yelled, "Say her name, because he had never mentioned her name. And that's when he called her Lincoln. Okay, no, it's Laken, but good for you for finding a name that starts with an L.
Look, he confused him with a college football coach. Of course that could happen.
Yes. And it was another president, and he was thinking of Civil War.
Oh, there you go.
So that really, upset the family of Laken.
Yeah.
Lincoln's mom, well, she's been dead for a long time, so she didn't really even notice it. So here's what happened. I was on the plane on Saturday. I had to go to California, give a speech. Ooh, couldn't get out of there fast enough. Anyway, so I'm on the plane. I land. And I said to somebody who was on the plane with me, you have the headlines? He said, yeah, looks like President Biden just apologized for the Laken Riley thing. I said, well, it's only a couple days late, but at least he did it. And then I got onto my own laptop and started looking at him. I was like, no, that's not what he apologized for. He apologized for calling him illegal. I don't even, what? He is from Venezuela. He crossed into the United States illegally. Of course, he was an undocumented person. He comes here. He gets all kinds of help. They catch him at the border. They release him, within an hour or so. They ship him to New York, where he gets, free room and board. I think he also gets a couple of extra free spaces in bingo at the church up in New York. And what does he do? Breaks the law. Goes down to Georgia. Breaks the law. Oh, while I'm here, I might as well kill a woman. This is a really bad guy. And why is it the president had to apologize? That was a setup. Do we happen to have the audio by any chance? No. You know this was a setup. He's on MSNBC. And the MSNBC anchor says, so do you feel bad at all about calling him an illegal? Now, why would you ask that? Go ahead. Here it is.
During your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was that the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border and more orderly flow, but I don't share his view at all.
Right.
So you regret using that word?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This was the White House putting him in a softball situation and tipping off the interviewer, hey, ask him about illegal.
Yep, 100%.
100%.
These things do not just happen like
Nope.
that.
Nope.
And obviously, in reality, no one cares about whether he said it was illegal. The fact that he didn't know the name was a bigger situation than that. And the fact that you could tell she was trying to goad him into talking about this, right? She wanted him to mention this story, which he would have never mentioned if it wasn't for her. If it wasn't for Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's no way he would have even mentioned it in that speech. And, look, it wound up drawing more attention, which is great. But it's like, it's incredible that is where we are, where they have to have the media give him softball interviews. At least he's doing the interviews now, I guess.
Well,
I mean, he avoided the Super Bowl interview.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's doing the interview.
It probably didn't have, a lock guarantee that it was going to be, what's your favorite ice cream?
Right.
So he's apologizing that he used the word illegal for somebody who is here illegally, and didn't apologize for his role in allowing this guy to be here. I love all of this lefty bullcrap that, what about all the crimes that were done by legals? Yes, you mean citizens. There's lots of crime done by citizens, absolutely. But there's absolutely no reason to import people who are criminals into this country so they can do crime. We should know who's here. You know what? He's part of a pretty vicious gang. I don't think we let him in. And you, Mr. President, you, Mayorkas, and everybody else involved who has been pushing these policies, their blood is on your hands. Period. Period. And there's a lot of blood on your hands. I mean, should we count the numbers killed in Ukraine? Because that's you're directly responsible for that action of Russia. All you had to say was, we're not going to make Russia a part of NATO. That's all you needed to say. And you wouldn't say it. You wanted the war. So her blood, the blood of everybody else that has been injured or killed here in America because you opened the border, Ukraine, all the people really at the Abbey Gate, of course, the 19 Marines, that blood is on. There's a lot. I don't know if I can tally up all of the blood, but there's a lot on your hands. Do you apologize for any of that? No.
I mean, if you're in an interview talking about the Laken Riley situation, you'd think at the very least, if you're going to ask a question about, hey, did you say illegal wrong? You'd also mention, hey, what about mispronouncing her name?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's almost
Have you met
directly
with her?
related.
This is so crazy. When did we start worrying about the feelings of the killer? Look what's happened. Stu just brought a very good point. He asked about mislabeling the killer, not about the callousness of not knowing her name, nor reaching out to the family and consoling. How about that one?
And of course, when he did attempt to console from stage, he made it about himself, which is what he does every single time.
Every time. I lost a really well. I know your son was, I guess, in the war. The war wasn't happening in Georgia.
No, also, and he didn't lose him in the war.
I know.
He also lost him because of cancer, which again is terrible, but has nothing to do with the situation they're dealing with.
Cancer is a vicious killer, and so is this illegal. He's a vicious killer. Well, we started the hour with Joe Biden making sure that he was taking care of the illegal that killed Laken, and I mean he's been so consistent on this. I mean, Stu, can you imagine if we could go back in time and somehow or another find like Chuck Schumer or Biden talking about illegal?
Can you scare an employer in this country, whether he's an agricultural worker or a housewife, into not hiring an illegal because the punishment's so high that if you get caught, it's a huge embarrassment to your family, and you may just get hit with a fine that'll kill you.
Yeah, absolutely, you can do that. And that's what we should do. Well, I think we should do that.
Because you can't catch everybody.
You can't. You can't. And the last part of this is that the Democratic position also recognized you got 11 million illegal aliens here. They have to have a way to earn their way into the deal. This is an amnesty. They're required to take 11 years' worth. They pay a fine. They got to learn to speak English. They got to pass tests.
Now imagine if we could find Chuck Schumer saying the same kind of stuff.
When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong.
Whoa. Anyway, Stu, can you imagine if we could go back in time and find stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, and we don't have those
those kind of capabilities.
No.
It's just all in our imagination.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
It is a fascinating transition.
That was 2009. 2009.
I was going to say, he looked pretty old for the 90s, which is when they used to say this stuff
2009.
Who was president in 2009? Barack
Obama. Talking about if you're not going to say they're illegal, then you're not going to stop it.
And he's, of course, right.
Yes, he is.
Right. And,
he is.
And he's right in how people hear that. Mm-hmm. If you won't say it, you probably don't think it's illegal.
Well, I mean, if anybody, I don't know how people who vote Democrats still think that the Democrats are the ones that are fighting for the little man, the every guy. They're fighting for the labor unions, the closest they get to the little guy, the labor unions, and then the big corporations. They're only for big, powerful things. They're not for the individual.
It's a fascinating thing. I mean, what a weird transition. It just shows we're old, right? Like, we've done this show long enough together to see them completely switch sides on like 100 different topics.
If we were on talk radio back in like 1970, we'd be like, wait, Johnson was the guy who stopped the Civil Rights Act. I can't take it anymore. If you were living in the 60s, you went through this transition where all of a sudden, without any rhyme or reason, they just are like, yeah, I know I was the one using the N-word, and I still am proud to use it, at my home and with my friends, but I think we should help out these inferior races. I mean, how did they pull that off? Just like they're doing now. The same kind of transition right in front of our eyes.